I'm going to give you 3 reasons why you may want to consider the 2026 Chevrolet Equinox Activ in Starling Silver Metallic over Maple Sugar. Last year we got a refresh which entailed fixing the interior and making it a tech-driven vehicle, giving us either an 8-speed automatic transmission or a CVT, depending on a front-wheel drive or an all-wheel drive configuration, which this one we're showcasing is the all-wheel drive. Now, the front-wheel drive is going to have 184 pound-feet of torque, whereas the all-wheel drive to 203 pound-feet. We already have a review on the CVT, so now you'll be able to see the difference between the two. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and I'm going to throw in some pros and cons to reveal the 3 reasons why you may want to consider the 2026 variant. Up front is going to get full LED for the headlights, the daytime runnings, and the fog lights, over 8 inches of clearance. Now, the RS is about 8.2 inches of clearance, so it's almost 0.2 inches more, even though it's the more street-derived styling. 3 different trims to choose from, 1 powertrain option, which is a 1.5 liter 4-cylinder turbocharged that's producing 175 horsepower and 203 pound-feet of torque, and that's paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission, achieving 25 mpgs for the city, 29 mpgs for the highway. Now, when you go the CVT route for the front-wheel drive, you're only losing 2 mpgs for the city, so is it worth going that route? And that's the first reason why you may want to consider it, because when you go into Honda, that's not going to be the case. It's going to be a CVT transmission. Now, there is a lot of vehicles in this segment, so we could literally sit here for 20-30 minutes comparing it against a million different vehicles. But we're going to just really tailor it to about 2 or 3. Toyota, Honda, Hyundai, and I'll throw in Mazda because Mazda has that sporty styling, but they have more premium interior components. But then the price to that is going to be a lot more money than this. Toyota, the RAV4, it got some updates. So it's going to look more like a Crown, and they also have a plug-in hybrid and a hybrid-only variant, whereas here you have a gas variant or an EV. The Activ gets 17-inch wheels with the all-terrain tires because this is the off-roadsy look. Similar to Subaru, just you can only tick the box to a CVT transmission going that route. The RS is going to have a more sporty wheel design, and it starts off at a 17-inch wheel, and you also get a spare tire that's a 17-inch wheel that I usually get comments saying, does it have a spare tire? It does. You can also check the sticker that I post in the first 2 to 15 seconds of each video. Raised roof rails, I like this because you don't have to add those crossbars. You can be cheap here, keep it under 40 grand, and you can use tie downs, similar to Subaru. Taking me to the second reason why you may want to consider this is you don't have to go into the Activ or the RS. They're the same MSRP, depending on the features you add. You could go into the LT and add features that's comparable to what we're showcasing here and save some money. That's not going to be the case with anybody in class. Standard LED taillights, and we have the digital rear view mirror that's tucked underneath the lower roof spoiler with a 360-degree reverse camera because we have the safety and technology package ticked, which you can do that on the LT package also. The safety was implemented last year that made it a little bit above and beyond. Because Chevy safety, it's going to include frontal collision, pedestrian detection, cyclists, lane keep assist, lane departure, rear cross traffic alert. Sorry, it's really hot, so I get tongue twisted. With the standard reverse camera and blind spot monitoring, there isn't any vehicle in class that's going to give you all the safety amenities under 40 grand with the premium interior components that we're showcasing here and the standard features that you're getting all in one. So for me, I think Chevy knocked it out of the park for a car that's under 40 grand. Well, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Power liftgate going into 29.8 cubic feet of storage. LED interior lighting with a 12-volt charger. Underneath the floor, gets a ton of storage. And you can pull this whole thing out. Unfortunately, you have to go into the back because there isn't any levers to fold down the seats at that 40-60 split. I'm kind of tall, so I'm going to do so in the back. But it's still a little bit of work in order to maximize cargo to the 63.5 cubic feet of storage. The key fob to the Activ Equinox. 10-way power seat adjustment for the front, ventilated front seats because we have the convenience package 3 ticked. Activ embossed, contrast stitch, piping, ecotec seating, heated front seats, suede microfiber seating surfaces, with memory for the driver The Equinox reminds me similar to the Slate, which is a truck slash SUV. And the reason why I say that is because you have to option features like this panel moonroof and the safety and technology package to get a digital rear view mirror and a 360-degree reverse camera, plus the convenience package 3 we've ticked. It is a driver focused setup. I do like the two-tone and the design that comes into play, the circular air vents and storage. They tick the box to that too, because you got it here. You also have a full pass-through here. Let's fire it up. There's that digital rear view mirror. It's auto dimming with the home link as well. LED interior lights. Wrapped steering wheel. It's heated, multi-function with the paddle shifts. It's a curved panel with 2 screens, and they kind of integrate a screen on top of the screen. So I think it's a pretty cool design the way they do everything, with 1 knob to turn on and off the sound system and also to operate the volume. And this is Google based with Google Maps, Google Play, Google Assist, wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto, Sirius XM, AM, FM, streaming Bluetooth audio. You can play video games. You have My Chevrolet. And when you put it into reverse, that's that 360-degree reverse camera I've been talking about throughout the review. You have a lot of different camera layouts here to make it easier for you. And you can also take the grids or the lines off. Dual climate control settings start on this trim and on the RS. The LT will be a standard climate control. Wireless charging pad, glossy black. Is it going to get scratched? More than likely. Does it leave fingerprints? It's actually not too bad. And you have a rotary knob right here, driver mode select. Now you have snow, ice, off-road, and normal. Whereas you will not have the snow and ice on the CVT transmission. It's going to be more soft here. Opens up into a deep storage pocket. You can lift this up. This could be for change, for gum, whatever you need it really for. And the gauge cluster is a digital reader. This is an 11-inch and this is an 11.3-inch. You can change out the different content in the gauge cluster so you could have the full navigation, and you could change for the adaptive cruise control and the lane keeping assist. Leg space is going to be more than enough. And the same thing with headroom. They do a good job carving it out. Door card and dashboard configuring together nicely. Even though it's a circular air vent, they keep the sporty design coming into play with the two-tone here, 1 touch up and down only for the driver window. That's a con to me. It's going to be soft where it needs to be with a long storage pocket. It's just not so wide. For the back seats, this is the opening that you have to fit 2 more with the cup holders and armrests down. Heated rear seats and USB ports on the bottom with storage behind both of the front seats. The door card is going to have the same materials found in the front. It's just going to be a smaller storage pocket. Sitting behind me, the seats are carved out for your leg space. You're not going to have any issues there, nor headroom. They do a decent job with a lot of space in the interior of this cabin. The floor is more or less flat, so sliding over, you're not going to be playing footsie. But butt, leg, and shoulder space will be shared a little bit. But considering the size of this vehicle, you can still reach in to turn on the heated seats and the USB ports. I mean, they give you a ton of space and headroom. I have more than 2 to 3 inches. 3,607 pound curb weight, 175 horsepower, 203 pound-feet of torque with an 8-speed automatic transmission. This is what you're getting. Now the CVT transmission drops it to 184 pound-feet of torque, so you are losing 19 pound-feet of torque, just a touch quicker than the CVT transmission, which I'll post the link to that review at the end of this one, so that way you can see the difference in the drive and some of the different interior and exterior that we have on that one. Seems to be a little bit more quiet inside too than the CVT, just because it's holding that gear ratio a little bit more. Sound active cancellation through the speakers. That's what's filtering out the road noise, but there's still a pretty significant amount. For a compact SUV, I mean, you can't really go wrong when you're under 40 grand and you're getting all of these features plus an 8-speed automatic transmission. It really does give you a good blend of everything mixed in one. Braking on the vehicle, it does sway, and turn radius at more or less a stop point is gonna be about 2 and a part lane. Let's rock and roll. I mean, it's definitely not the fastest vehicle. You're not buying it for performance, but what is something that makes this set apart is 4-link rear suspension with a McPherson strut front suspension. Usually you're not getting those suspension components in a vehicle that's under 40 grand, so you have to take some of the good with the bad. Yes, it's not going to be the fastest, but you can still get up onto the interstate, and it's getting decent fuel economy. I mean, nearly 30 mpgs for the city, and even, or for the highway, and even going in the city at 25, you're only losing about 2 mpgs going to this all-wheel drive opposed to the front-wheel drive configuration. It doesn't feel wide, the seats are comfortable, and because of that suspension layout, that translates to a smoother ride, especially when you're going onto the interstate or hitting any type of potholes. You got all-terrain tires, so you don't have to be as concerned about messing up the wheel because they put some kind of 20-inch wheel on a compact SUV. But it will lead me into some pros and cons before I reveal the final reason why you may want to consider it. The pros, you've heard pretty much everything about it. The technology, the comfort, the sound system, the safety, the damn cargo capacity over 60 cubic feet, towing at 1,500 pounds, a payload over 1,200 pounds, so you can fill this up with people and goodies in the cargo and it'll still go. Now on the cons. The ACs, I've had them where they don't really pump out that much cold air. And you can constantly hear the Freon mixing to try to make it cooler, but then I have to turn down the fan speed in order to cool down the system, and then I turn it up and it starts getting warm again. When you have a smaller engine, that also gives you a smaller compressor, in which that's one of the issues I have with Mazda. When you go into their smaller vehicles, you can't feel the air in the back. You can feel the air circulate, just it does have problems here and there whenever it gets extremely hot. Sometimes it gets over 110 degrees in the state of Florida. So that's what I'm meaning by hot. The infotainment screen, I like the design to it, driver focus, so it's easy to use. We do have physical buttons, but they forget buttons for things like to turn on and off your lights. Going into any type of settings. You have to literally go into multiple pages in order to configure any damn thing because it's all derived through here. How are you going to do that driving Chevy? You can't. You're going to have to pull off on the side of the road because you're typically going into 2 and 3 different pages to change 1 or 2 different settings. They do optimize in storage capacity, so I do appreciate that. And the only other cons that I could really see with this, because of the price that you're at and all the amenities that you're getting, is they only give you one power option. If I want the RS, I want more performance, and I stated it back in 2025 when they did the refresh, and now they still carry it into 2026 doing the same damn thing. But the final reason why you may want to consider this is because of how smooth the drive is. Whether you're doing an A to B run or you're going for a long journey, this is going to be one of the most comfortable vehicles in class. But let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. Check this next video out right here. And I'd like to thank our friends here at Morgan Chevy.